Welcome to the home of the DIY movement, where we build stuff and paint things.
All right, y'all, welcome back. It's Way Back Wednesday again. Where we last left off, I know it was a Brown 63 video, but there was a car in there in the mix that I kind of forgot about. And if you guys remember in the previous episodes, I had mentioned around this time there was a time where I had 3 or 4 of them at the same time, and got kind of jumbled up in my memory about the timeline. So at one point I had the Cadillac, the black Cadillac, and the black 60, right? And I got an offer on the 60, so that went to, I want to say, Missouri, St. Louis area. Okay, the guy bought the 60 with no wheels, with no cruiser skirts, and no hydraulic setup. So I put it on dummy tires, and he took it like that. Shortly after that, I got an offer on the Cadillac, and that went, as previously stated, out to El Paso. And that kind of went as is, right? So at that point, both cars are gone. I cancel my storage unit because I don't need it anymore. So I got money in my pocket. I'm also saving by not having to pay for the storage. I was like, I want to say about $150, $160 a month. So this was before the Brown 63, right? So I didn't have a car, and I was probably around 28, 29 years old, maybe. And that was the first time that I didn't have, a car with 13s, pretty much in my life, right? Since I started driving. So I was kind of going through withdrawals. And, I had a good chunk of money. I sold the 60 for a good chunk. I sold the Cadillac for a decent amount. So I had money to play with. And I was like, man, I'm going to throw together, a little budget lowrider, right? Because it only took me about a month without a car before I was like, man, I don't have anything to do, right? Just go to work and come home. So hopped on Craigslist again back then, and I found this car. Now, before we get into the car, I want to talk about the reason for the car. So in the meantime, before I got the car, I bought these wheels, right, from a guy on Lay It Low. I don't know if you guys have ever done that, but I built a car around the wheels. So I had the wheels first, and then I guess pick the car, pick the color of the car, kind of pick the theme of the car, basically around the wheels. And these were 72 spoke triple gold roadster knockoffs that were, man, they were like a 9 out of a 10, man. They were really, really good condition, almost immaculate, right? So I got the wheels. Back then I thought it was a little bit more than it should have been, but looking back now, now it'd be triple the price. So got the wheels at a decent price, and I got on Craigslist, and I found that this Buick Regal, right? So the Regal was in Schertz, Texas, which, if I remember right, was about 3 hours away. And we went out there on a weekend, me and my wife, and it was from an original owner, right? The guy had it in the garage. It was an 85 limited. And that wasn't how it looked when I picked it up. I did get the car painted. But man, the car had less than 59,000 miles on it, and it was original owner, a real original owner. Like, he bought the car new. So I ended up getting this Regal for, I want to say, $3,300. I want to say he was asking $35, and we went out there and I offered him $33, and he took it. And I drove it home, right? AC blowing. And I drove it home, and it had some really, really old tires on it, right? So that was kind of my concern, because when we showed up, the car was kind of, all 4 tires were low on air. They weren't flat, but they were like damn near flat. So we went to the gas station and aired them up. and a lot of dry rotting on the tires, right? So driving home, you know, that was my whole concern, was the dry rot tires are gonna, pop or whatever. And so, but they didn't, and we made it home. We made it home. I was driving, about 70 miles an hour. We took the back way home. We didn't go on the main highway. We kind of took the back roads home, and we made it home. Yeah, so like I said, about 59,000 miles on the car. You can see the dash trim. Man, the car was really, really clean. On the inside, it was nearly immaculate. The outside wasn't bad. So like I said, I got the car for about $3,300. I took it to a painter, a guy that, was recommended from a guy that was in the club at the time. And he had painted a couple cars, for people that we knew. And I decided on that, I want to say it's a parchment. I think that's the name of the color, parchment, but it's a 3-stage, and it's a Lincoln Town Car color, which here recently I had a Lincoln Town Car that color. So it was a pearl, and I want to say the paint job was like $3,000 or $2,500 or something like that, right? So still kind of budget, but not really. The paint job was almost as much as the car, but he did a really good job on it. And so I got it home, and that's the car painted, and I put the wheels on it, and it was still stock. And the first thing that I wanted to do was get the vinyl top redone, because it was a white top. It looked good, but I kind of wanted it a little bit offset. So I would say with this car, this is kind of where the do-it-yourself mentality kind of took a turn, because I had never done a vinyl top, but I was like, man, how hard can it be? All you do is peel the old off and glue the new on and trim it and tuck it, and you're done, right? So I was like, I'm gonna try it. So that's what I did. I peeled the old one off. As you can see now, looking back in hindsight, this should have been done before paint, because he had to mask up right up to the line of the quarter top trim. So this should have been done before paint, but it wasn't. So I peeled the old one off, right? And I just started, the old one peeled off in one piece. So I had my pattern, and I went to, I think it was like Hobby Lobby or like Joann's Fabric or something, and just picked out a brown vinyl. This wasn't specific Landau material or anything. This was like Hobby Lobby vinyl that was probably like $10. And I cut it to fit the old pattern. And, I just started gluing it, right? Glued it, stretch it a little bit, not too much, heat it up a little bit, not too much, and just started, gluing and taping it down. You can see right there while the glue was drying or whatever, and just started kind of tucking it around, right? Here's a picture of it done. And man, I was really, really proud of myself, man, for that quarter top job, right? Got a couple more pictures here. So here's the top. I ordered new emblems there, and we put the quarter window back in, and I put that aluminum or brushed aluminum piece, back on, and put all the trim back on. And man, we're in business, right? That I would say that looked professional. And back then, like, you can get quarter tops done for like, I don't know, like $300 to $400 maybe. So it wasn't a huge savings. Now I don't know what people charge for quarter top, probably $1,000. But hey, started saving money, and the wheels, the light clicked on and the wheels started turning. I'm like, okay, well, that wasn't that hard, man. I did that myself. Okay, so that's another thing under the belt. At the time, I was tinkering with repairing aluminum and stainless trim and trying to learn how to polish it out, fix dents and stuff like that. So I was really trying to, learn how to do things myself, right? And this was kind of a turning point, like I said earlier. All right, so once that quarter top was done, we got the car painted. We got the quarter top. It's looking clean. And you remember I told you when I sold the 60 that I kept the hydraulics out of it. So I had the setup still laying around. I took it apart, cleaned it all up, reconfigured it, did the hard lines. I had already known how to do hard lines at the time, so I re-hardlined it, reconfigured it using the same, equipment, same parts, didn't have to buy anything. And, I started cutting the Regal, right? And I remember on the previous video, I couldn't think of the name of or the type of welder that I had, but it was a flux core, right? The kind that you don't use any gas on. Here's a couple pictures of the setup once it was done, and basically reused the entire thing, man, batteries and all, you know, other than, you know, rack materials. And that was a finished product right there. I built just a little wall for the hard lines to go into, and that was a finished product. I did that car in the little, you know, car and a half garage there at the house, at the old house, right? I even extended the A-arms myself. That was the first time for that, I want to say, or second time. I remember running 1-ton pre-cut springs in the front, and then I put the front springs, cut them down, and put them in the back, right? So car rode pretty smooth, laid out real nice. I remember finding that that door molding, which it wasn't the official door impact strip. It was something that was sold on a roll online that I bought and cut it up and then dyed it, you know, vinyl dye, SEM vinyl dye, the insert, and put it on the car, man, to kind of mimic, because you know, originally some of these cars came with the impact strips like that as a dealer add-on. So I kind of like that look, kind of break up the car a little bit. See a lot of G bodies that are missing that, or they're missing the rockers on the bottom. So I like to have that stuff intact. Here's a picture of the car in the driveway. I must have had the timeline backwards, because that looks like it still has the white top. So maybe I put the hydraulics on before the quarter top. But either way, I did end up doing both of them in that garage. So fast forward, you know, I was driving the car around like that. It was a good car, man. And, you know, a little V6 in it, 59,000 miles. It ran really good, but it did have some issues from sitting. I remember I had some issues with the rear drum brakes. So I had to overhaul the rear drum brakes and, you know, little stuff like that. But overall, it was a real nice car. Here's a picture with the top done. So kind of my vision is coming to life, building the car around the wheels and around the color theme, you know, with the pearl paint and the peanut butter quarter top to match the insides and the triple gold wheels, right? So I remember I used to buzz this car around the Stafford area, and I used to go hang out at an upholstery shop once in a while, and we were there just kind of bullshitting, not really doing anything, right? So we were just kind of sitting around, and you know, I took the car, and they were like, man, you know, car looks good, man, you should do some gold plating. And I was like, I mean, well, yeah, I would like to. And he was like, man, I think we have a gold plating machine like up in the attic, up in storage. Let me go look, right? So he pulled this big old tub down, Tupperware tub, and he had a gold plating machine, right? That he said it had been sitting, you know, since the 90s, because at the time, gold plating, I mean, it was still a thing. It was a big thing in the 90s, and then it kind of phased out, and now it seems like it's kind of coming back. So this was around the time that it had phased out. And he was like, man, you want to experiment on it? And I was like, well, yeah, let's try something, you know, that we can take off, you know, that way we don't damage the paint or anything, man. So we started I think we did the front turn signal bezels right there in the bumper. I took, you know, unscrewed though, I think it's 2 screws, took them off. And he tried to remember how to work the machine and whatnot, finally got it working. And man, we gold plated the bezels there, right? So then I think we did the bumper guards and just small emblem stuff, right? And I mean, we were doing it right there. We worked, well, he did it while I watched, but I remember by the time we were done, it was like 3 or 4 in the morning, right? This was like on a whim. So it was like 3 or 4 in the morning, and, you know, driving home or whatever. And I'm like, man, that was really easy. Like watching him do the process with the machine. I bet I can do that, right? So like this light turned on. I'm like, man, I'm gonna start gold plating. So I remember I bought the machine from some guys in Baytown from Latin Cartel. It was the same thing, man. They had this thing in a big old tub from way back in the 90s. Hadn't used it in years. So I bought it, right? And it came with a little bit of gold chemical. but I had to re-up on the gold chemical, but it came with like the nickel strike and all the anodes and stuff. And, you know, I even think I remember it came with instructions, but they were like, you know, 15-year-old pieces of paper that were all, you know, wrinkled or whatever. But nonetheless, I took a stab at gold plating, right? So we want to, you know, like I say, the light bulb had turned on doing things myself. I'm like, man, I'm gonna do some gold plating. So I finished up some stuff on the Regal. I remember I did the headlight bezels myself, and I did some interior stuff on the car, which I don't have pictures of, but I did like the shifter, the column shifter, and like the door locks and seat trim, power seat trim. Basically, the little things from inside the car that you can unscrew, and I gold plated those myself, right? So I was on this whole new addiction. So, you know, I was like, man, I'm gonna start doing this for people, right? But the problem was, I didn't know how to charge. I didn't know what to charge, right? So I remember Pat. You know, Pat passed away a couple years ago. Rest in peace, Pat. He had a 63, right? And he was like, man, can you gold plate this stuff for me? And I'm like, well, I'm not really good at it yet, you know, but sure, if you don't really care about warranty or me screwing it up, let's do it. Bring it. So he brought all this stuff, right, that I just showed, plus this grill guard, 63 grill guard. And I want to say I gold plated everything for $150, just kind of messing around. I remember the grill guard. That thing was so huge, and the gold plating is a wet process. You have to keep the part wet. So I ended up gold plating that grill guard in the bathtub at the house. We used to use little baking sheets for all the little parts. I remember ruining the kitchen table because the kitchen table was like particle board or, you know, wood look-alike, you know, and it swelled up. It got wet and swelled up, but luckily we had like placemats, so cover it up. But I did ruin the kitchen table. My wife still jokes with me about that. And I gold plated this grill guard in the bathtub. And Pat was like super stoked, man, because he had I want to say his Impala was like brown or like root beer color, and a 63 convertible. And you know, he wanted the gold on it, so man, he was super stoked. Didn't charge him hardly anything because it was a learning process for me. And man, it was a lot of fun, right? Gold plating at home. So then the Regal, you know, it had the wheels, you know, hydraulics, paint job, you know, gold plating. What else could I do to the car, right? So I scored a Continental kit, a bumper kit from somewhere, I forgot where. But that wheel in there was a matching triple gold 72 spoke, and it was NOS. And I bought it from the same guy that I bought the rims from. It was a new old stock, brand new wheel. I want to say I paid $300 for it back then. And I couldn't really bring myself to cut it, you know, to fit it in the kit, but I did it, and I put a NOS wheel in the bumper kit. Right, that was the first time for that. That I also, since I did the vinyl top, you know, I had the confidence to wrap the bumper kit, so I wrapped the bumper kit myself, and then I want to say I gold plated the band later on or somewhere in that process. But that was an NOS wheel in that bumper kit, man. So, you know, so like I say, I'm building the momentum now, you know, doing things myself. And I was like, man, you know what can stop you once you click that light bulb on in your head? You know, nothing could stop you. If you have the determination, nothing could stop you from doing things yourself. Yeah, there it is with the gold band on the bumper kit. I remember driving home one night, and when you put wheels in these bumper kits, they're you know, they get real heavy, right? I was driving home on the Beltway one night, and the thing came unlatched, and nobody told me, and it broke the little chain that prevents it from flipping all the way over, and the bumper kit flipped all the way over and dragged on the Beltway on the freeway all the way home. And it ruined the band, so I had to get a new band. And I want to say I replated that, or, you know, fixed it or whatever, replaced it. But there it is. I actually changed out the spinners. Back then, man, you guys know me from back then. I had a collection of Roadster stuff, man. Like I don't know, 3 or 4 or 5 sets of spinners and a couple sets of wheels and adapters and stuff. You know, here's a picture of some of my stash I had back then. Some of those spinners are NOS. Some of them were used but clean. And man, I used to have, you know, like I say, so many sets of them things. And I just eventually end up selling them off, or, you know, selling 1 or 2 to people, because it seemed like it was always the right side ones that fly off the car for some reason. So everybody needed right side spinners. And man, I had quite a stash back then. I wish I had them now, but not so much, man. I kind of have what I need now with the set for the 60, but I used to be an avid collector of that stuff. Here's the last picture of this Regal that I had. I know this picture has circulated online for a few years now on Instagram and Facebook and stuff, and you know, it's a good picture because the car kind of matches the house, you know. But back to the original idea of, you know, building a car around a set of wheels that you have. You know, I don't know if anybody's ever done that besides me. I'm sure they have, but you know, that is a thing, man. You get some wheels that you think are irreplaceable, and you build a car around the wheels. So I had that Regal. I want to say I rode it around for about a year or so, and that was when we decided to go ahead and pull the trigger and get things in motion for moving out of that house. And then somewhere along this lines of having this Regal, I bought that 63, the brown 63 from last week, and I got that car, and then I actually traded that car back for the black Cadillac from the same guy. So I had the Cadillac and I had the Regal. And then, you know, it was liquidation time because we needed money. I still had the money from the 60, but we needed, you know, you need as much money as you can when you're buying a home. You know, you want to put down payment, you got to get furniture, and you know, there's a whole lot more expense incorporated in buying a home than just buying a home. So I wanted to make sure I had enough cash to cover all those expenses, man. So the Regal sold. I remember I sold it to a guy, and I sold it with no wheels and no bumper kit. And I'm not sure about the hydraulics. I'm pretty sure the hydraulics stayed in it. It had 3 8X's. But I know I sold the bumper kit to a guy in Houston area, and then I kept the wheels and I took them with me when we moved. So the car was gone, and I think he drove it around for about a year or two. And then last I heard, it ended up in a used car lot over in Pasadena, kind of weathering away. And I still had the Cadillac, right? So I kept the Cadillac because I wanted to have me a little get me over until I really got serious about the DIY movement. So basically, when we sold the house, I had a set of wheels, those triple golds, and I had some spinners, and I had the black Cadillac. So that's going to wrap it up for this week's Way Back Wednesday. And where we bring you guys back next time is when the DIY movement really starts to take shape. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. As usual, y'all stay tuned for more work, and thanks for watching.